Today, we discuss the success of Ukrainian troops in thwarting a massive attack from Russian soldiers in Donetsk. Russian forces have suffered high losses of troops and equipment in a major assault in that region, according to reports and video footage posted on social media. Huge battle between Ukrainian and Russian forces in Novomykhailivka. Russian forces numbering 13 vehicles and 200 people were repelled and many were destroyed. Pro-Ukrainian user War is translated posted on X, formerly Twitter, next to video footage purportedly showing the attacks. Newsweek has yet to verify this and has contacted the Ukrainian and Russian defense ministries for comments. Russia captured Novomykhailivka on April 28th after fierce fighting in which Moscow's forces are said to have lost more than 300 military vehicles and suffered casualties of 13,000. At the time, Ukraine's 79th Air Assault Brigade, which fought there, described the area as one of the largest cemeteries of Russian equipment. A new map appears to show Russian forces closing in on Ukraine's positions in the heart of fighting in the country's Donetsk region, as Ukrainian sources sound the alarm over Russia's advances on the Eastern Front. Popular Ukrainian war-tracking blog Deep State said on Tuesday that Russian forces were trying to surround 2 Ukrainian battalions belonging to the 31st Mechanized Brigade west of the Donetsk city of Avdiivka. The X account Ukraine Control Map, which charts the latest state of play on the front line, posted on Wednesday that Russian forces were conducting large mechanized assaults between Novomykhailivka and east of Vuhledar, which lies about 13 miles further southeast. The 82-second video was also shared on the media platform Knoll Reports, which covers the war in Ukraine. As of Thursday, it had received over 155,000 views and showed a series of strikes on military vehicles in an open field with smoke billowing into the air. This is insane. The 79th Air Assault Brigade repelled one of the largest Russian assaults from multiple directions, said Knoll Reports, adding that the attack involved 11 tanks, 45 armed personnel carriers, a BMP-T Terminator, and an armed fighting vehicle, as well as a dozen motorcycles and around 200 troops. Ukraine's brigade responded with heavy artillery fire, anti-tank guided missiles, and drone strikes, the Post said. After losing 13 armored vehicles, the attackers retreated and fleeing infantry were targeted by UAV drone operators. The Post added that the Russian forces lost 6 tanks, 7 BMP armored fighting vehicles with infantry, and all 12 motorcycles. There were 40 killed and 37 wounded, it added. Jürgen Naudet, a pro-Ukrainian X-user, provided further details in a post that said, after knocking out the first tanks and armored vehicles, other vehicles rushed to flee the battlefield. The infantry, which scattered on the landings, were finished off by the pilots. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, noted in its Wednesday update claims by Russian Emil bloggers that Moscow's forces had established artillery control over the road between Kostiantynivka and Vuhledar and broken through Ukrainian defenses and to reach the southwest of Donetsk city. Meanwhile, Russian forces have made marginal gains in Ukraine's east recently, according to the Institute for the Study of War, ISW, whose latest maps depict the state of play on the front line. The Washington, D.C.-based think tank reported Wednesday that Russian forces had advanced north of Kharkiv city and continued fighting in the north of the region. One of its maps marked Moscow's claims that it had captured the village of Hlybok on Tuesday near the border and showed other reported Russian advances in the town of Staritsa, around 20 miles further east 3 days earlier. Another map depicted Russian claims of gains in the Donetsk region, such as the seizure of the towns of Nevelsky and Yurivka on July 21st. Citing geolocated footage, the graph also marks Russian advances on July 22nd toward New York, Maximilianivka, and 2 days later, Kostiantynivka. However, Ukrainian forces have boasted of their successes. Soldiers from the 79th Tavrian Air Assault Brigade said they had repelled one of the most significant Russian assaults since the start of the war in the Kurakov sector in Donetsk, where Russia is trying to break through. Meanwhile, the Kremlin has said it's open to negotiations with Ukraine to bring an end to Russia's ongoing war of aggression against its neighbor, but says it needs clarification on how ready Kyiv is to participate in peace talks. Russia as a whole is open to the negotiation process, but first we need to understand how ready Ukraine, the Ukrainian side, is for this, and how much the Ukrainian side has, let's say, permission from its curators, because so far you see, very different statements are being made, and it is not entirely clear yet, Dmitry Peskov, press secretary for Russian President Vladimir Putin, said. In addition to the general problem with Zelensky's legitimacy, there is also a problem, in fact, with a de facto legislative ban on any contacts and negotiations with the Russian side, he added. In the run-up to the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Putin and other prominent Russian politicians have made multiple claims that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was a puppet of the West, alleging that all decisions were being made in Washington or Brussels and not in Kyiv. Russian authorities and state-owned media have also repeatedly tried to delegitimize the Ukrainian leader, lobbing a series of allegations against Zelensky, such as him being a Nazi or a drug user. No evidence was ever provided for any of the claims. Furthermore, none of the allegations have been proven true or independently confirmed. The authorities in Kyiv have repeatedly stated that the only acceptable peace offer would include a complete withdrawal of Russian troops from all occupied areas, including Crimea, which Moscow unilaterally annexed in 2014. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said he is seeking common ground in talks with his Chinese counterpart about ending his country's war with Russia. Kuleba met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Guangzhou on Wednesday. It's his first visit to the country since Russia's invasion of Ukraine.